Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Red Right Youth Podcast. My name is Peter.
I'm Alexa.
And this is Dan.
And we are currently in the third episode of the Advent series, where we are exploring the meaning of Christmas. Please join us as we take a look at the greatest story that has ever been told. Over to you, Dan.
Thanks so much, Pete and Alexa. So, as the time of you are listening to this, I have two facts or pieces of information surrounding Christmas that I thought you would like to know, because when I found them out, I was intrigued.
Yeah.
The first one, we're going to start off with the birthplace of Jesus.
Okay.
He wasn't born in a hospital like babies are today.
No way,
Or-
really?
I know, right?
Crazy.
There wasn't Buzamed private hospital up in
Imagine.
Hillcrest that they drove to.
Ew, imagine.
No, it wasn't that.
Yeah.
Neither was it a stable located onto the innkeeper's property.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a host of information or debate regarding where Jesus was born exactly. And a lot of us assume, due to the nativity scene that we always see and Christmas plays, that the innkeeper kind of just led them next door
To the stable.
or the attached property of a stable where there were donkeys and
That's what I thought.
whatnot. It has the word manger in it, so
Yes.
it's like fair to assume, especially because we've got the nativity scene. But what most historians and theologians say is that because of all the hills that surrounded Bethlehem, Jesus was most likely born in a cave or a shelter built into that hillside.
No ways, that's crazy.
It is crazy.
That is insane.
I can't tell you which hillside.
Wow.
That'd
Yeah,
be cool to
That'd
tell
be
you.
super cool.
I don't know that. I don't know if anyone knows that.
No one probably knows that.
Yeah. But
Oh,
but
God
it is
does.
interesting.
Yeah.
It's like different to what we thought.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
My whole life's
Yeah.
a lie.
Your whole life.
Every nativity scene is wrong.
Oh my
That's fair.
gosh.
Well, I mean, obviously, the three magi as well appearing at the birth,
yes,
like we
yes.
established
I'm just
last
going to
week.
trash everyone's nativity scenes.
No,
now,
you'd be
because-
like, I don't see that in the Bible,
yeah,
man.
sorry, it's
Like,
wrong.
The next piece of information I have for you is regarding a Christmas carol,
Oh, I love carols.
right? So the Christmas carol, the one where it goes, Noel, Noel, what's
Yeah,
that one called?
It's called Noel.
Oh,
yeah, shut
that
up.
makes sense,
Yeah.
right? So do you know what the word Noel means?
No, I just sing it.
You just sing it now.
Yes.
Well, I'm French speaking, but I'd like to hear.
Okay, so in Latin,
Yeah.
right, where we get the word Noel from, it means day of birth.
Okay.
So when you're singing Noel,
Mm-hmm.
right, you're just singing
Happy birthday.
happy birthday.
Oh
well,
my gosh.
effectively just birthday. Birthday.
Birthday.
Right?
Like, I can't.
It changes how we understand
I
that
can
song
never
so
listen to that
much.
song again.
Yeah. What does it mean in French, Pete?
In French, it means Christmas. Funny enough.
Ah, interesting.
So it's derived from the Latin to be born, as Daniel was saying. But the way I understand it, growing up speaking French, is it's Christmas.
So when we speak about the first Noel,
It's
the first Christmas, which would also have been the first birth of Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, the only birth of Jesus,
Yeah.
but the first time that's celebrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty interesting, hey?
Very cool.
So what we're going to talk about today is the shepherds.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Do you think they sung carols?
Ooh, good question.
Ooh.
They must have had like shepherd songs though,
Yo.
right?
Yeah,
I
to
don't
keep
know.
themselves entertained.
Baba Black Sheep.
Imagine that's what they sang.
But I mean, like when we go to Lesotho and that, I
Yeah.
know that the shepherd boys, I'll hear them singing as we drive past.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Would they have recited the Psalms, maybe?
Maybe.
that's a good point. I would assume
With like
it
a
would
little
be
harp
that.
or something.
Yeah.
Cute.
And I think, some of the interesting things for you to know about the shepherds is that these particular shepherds that we see in Luke chapter 2, because that's where we're going to be spending some time at, is that they probably lived in Bethlehem.
Yeah.
That was probably their home. They were not necessarily nomadic, because you think of someone like Abraham, who would have been nomadic. He would have wandered
Around.
He would be in the wilderness, and then he would go to the city for when there was famine, and then he would
Yeah.
go back out. So Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob would have been people of that kind, but these shepherds weren't. In fact, the fact that they were out in the field at nighttime gives us a clue to when Jesus would have been born.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. They could have, it's shepherds generally would be out grazing at nighttime from as early as spring.
Okay.
But
What's spring in the northern hemisphere?
that's a good point. I think spring.
Our spring is September,
It's the
So,
opposite of that.
yeah, that's actually a good question.
so it must be like March,
would have been,
maybe.
probably.
March.
I would probably, it'd be easier for me to think of summer.
Okay.
So probably summer would be July, August, September
Okay, that
period.
makes sense. So from that time, these shepherds are out with their sheep grazing.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay,
Interesting.
So
That's a good
and
time frame to think about.
Yeah.
if you think about it, nighttime, in summertime and springtime,
pretty
it's quite warm. And during the day, they wouldn't be grazing because it would be extremely hot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So they would
can
find the
imagine.
shade. You think of Abraham sitting under the tree in the cool of the day
Yeah.
Mhm.
when the angels appear. So these people are out at nighttime grazing with their sheep. So Jesus would have been born around the September period, October, maybe even as early as June.
That's very cool.
So
Obviously, before it starts getting autumn, winter,
yeah,
because then it's too cold to be outside.
but also it's the time as well where people start preparing the ground,
Sure.
start plowing. So
Oh.
so the harvest period was at summertime.
Okay.
Yeah, so shepherds would have been out there around that period of time between the plowing season and the harvest period.
Very interesting.
Yeah, how
Good to
cool
know.
is that?
Mm.
So, yeah, we don't know much about the shepherds in the time of Jesus. There are very differing opinions. I don't know if you guys have heard some of you might have heard that the shepherds were considered to be like tax collectors, unclean.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
that. But then I think about different characters in the Bible,
Yeah.
and I think David was a shepherd.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
everyone
So
loved it. Yeah.
I'm like, I think when I view a shepherd in biblical times,
Yeah.
my brain has two different pictures. Some or like stories of unclean, dirty, kind of on the outsides or outskirts of the town.
Yeah.
Then I have this picture of a David type character
Yeah.
Yeah.
who becomes king
Yeah.
Yeah.
because of his training as a shepherd boy,
Yes.
looking after his father's sheep
Yes.
and protecting them from animals. So I'm like, I don't really know how to put the two together, I think.
Yeah.
You're correct. Because the shepherds would not be classified as people who have leprosy.
Yeah.
Leprosy, they lived outside the city.
Yeah.
And shepherds, someone like David, their father sent for people to go and call David. You don't go and call an unclean person
Yeah.
Yeah.
and bring him. So that's another thing. Another thing is that Jesus does not call himself the good tax collector.
Yeah.
Calls himself the good shepherd.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
So but regardless of what you feel is an accurate description of the shepherds, what we do know is that if you are an advertising agency or you're trying to do some PR, and you wanted to get some crucial information out there, or you wanted to get yourself out there, you're not gonna go to shepherds to
Yeah.
get
Yeah,
that information.
that is
out.
interesting, right? Because out of all the people God chooses to reveal through the angels is shepherds who aren't the most famous, aren't the most, like, they're not the talk of the town.
They're
Yeah.
not the government.
Yeah. They're not the king, obviously.
Yeah.
They're shepherds.
They're the
Yeah.
most insignificant people
Yeah.
in that society in that moment. And
Which is crazy.
I mean, we've got friends who recently got engaged, and
Yeah.
you don't find them going to people on the street
That's true.
like
Yeah.
a hawker or someone saying, "Hey guys, I want to let you know some big news.
Yeah.
I'm pregnant."
Yeah.
Oh wait, I'm
Oh.
engaged.
Wow. A little early.
Sorry, I'm engaged. Sorry.
Yeah. But also, like, I think that's crazy because I think obviously a lot of people who are listening, you guys are young. Like, actually, God will call you and speak to you as almost quote unquote the insignificant, the youth, the young people. And I think to be encouraged to listen out for God in those moments. So I think we can discount ourselves as young people, but actually He does speak to us as well. Yeah.
The ushering in of God's kingdom came through insignificant shepherds.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, not the army, not the people in the king's court, not some nobility, not some highly educated people. It came through shepherds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. And Alexa, your point in that how we feel as younger people, how you feel who's listening as a younger person, that your role or your part to play is insignificant. I think God used a person just like you to establish and to announce the arrival of his kingdom.
Yeah.
So why can't he do it again?
Yeah. How
Yeah.
old are you, Alexa?
I'm 19.
This is 2024, guys.
Yeah.
She's 19. Mary would have been younger than you.
Yeah. Mary would have been younger than me. About 3-4 years younger than me.
Crazy. And God trusts her with God.
With God.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
It's quite a profound thing to think
It really,
about.
really is.
Yeah.
And I think, and the most profound thing about the story is that God gives a show to the shepherds. So he appears and he says to them, guys, I've got very good news. And
Yeah.
he doesn't send a postman to deliver a message. He sends an angel. He's
Yeah.
like, hey, would you go and tell some of the, he doesn't send them to like the scribes. He sends them
he sends
to
it to-
shepherds.
Yeah. And it's not just some like small little letter or news article to like go pass around town or something. It is
It's big.
the show of shows. Like
Yeah.
we're talking
Blinding.
Broadway,
Yeah.
like times infinity type
It's
of
insane.
Yeah.
like performance show, this this expression of God's glory and majesty, and the shepherds are one to witness
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, pitch
Yeah.
perfect
Yeah,
Pitch
yeah, yeah.
perfect. Yeah.
singing.
As well.
Can you even picture
Oh,
that?
It must have been beautiful.
nothing out of tune, just perfect. Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
And he generally, if you want to put on your best shows, you put it for big dignitaries. When I mean dignitaries for the young guys, I'm talking about like presidents and
Yeah.
kings.
Or like ambassadors
Absolutely.
to different countries. Yeah.
But he puts on this incredible show for shepherds.
Yeah.
And guess what? He uses uses angels who are warring angels, because the word for hosts there refers to an army of angels.
Yeah.
So it's these angels would have been built for war and for battle. And guess what? They are all appearing and they are singing to Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
have you
so
ever
good.
seen those parade of armies
Yes.
walking through the city? They are so skilled.
Yeah.
And
They're like just the presence that they carry as well.
Oh yeah.
As
100%.
people, as crowds watch them,
Yeah.
it's
It's almost silent.
yeah. You're
main
watching
focus.
in awe, right? I can
Yeah.
imagine the shepherds having this moved out or performed out in front of them.
Yeah.
Their eyes must have just widened, their like jaw drop, their ears so attentive to everything being said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It must have been incredibly profound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the best sound systems have nothing on that experience. But we can learn something from this story.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
And it's basically how God intentionally goes out of his way to include the people we naturally wouldn't include. He reveals himself to them. He makes his purposes known to them. And he gives them a message.
Yeah.
And this has made me wonder why us as humans tend to move towards certain people. We tend to move towards, if we are honest, towards people who have something to offer us. We don't necessarily do it intentionally. I don't wake up in the morning and say, hey, I'm going to go and chat to Daniel. But we tend to move towards those who make us feel good about ourselves. You know, like chatting to you guys is nice because I go away feeling good about myself.
Yeah.
But if we move towards those who only have something to offer us, we're not really reflecting what Jesus
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
is doing here. Because sometimes, even if we're honest, we tend to find ourselves happy to be seen around those who would make us look good, who would give us a good reputation. Even at school, we want to be around those who are popular and cool. But God works differently. He is very content that those who are insignificant be the ones to bear the good news. This good news, as the angel told the shepherd, is for everyone. But he, instead of telling the scribes or the top politicians, he tells the most insignificant.
Yeah.
I want you to go and tell others this good news for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's he does. The angel doesn't tell them that they must go and tell, but they naturally go.
They want to.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
want to.
And
Yeah.
that's what the most. And what we see here is that the most important people are not the ones entrusted with the message, but it's the most insignificant.
Yeah.
Which means that young people should not underestimate themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think also, like, off that point, like, actually a challenge for us is that we do kind of associate with the quote unquote lowly, because we, like, they are the people who God will also speak to. I think, as Peter was saying, we have a gravitation towards the popular, towards the cool, but actually when there's that weird kid at school, actually we are called to be friends with that person. We are called to defend those people in conversations, because it's still someone whose God has made, and that is what God has done. So yeah.
Yeah, I often think of it like God came and associated himself with us, right? Us as humans who had nothing to offer him. There's nothing that we could give God that would make him feel satisfied, that would make him feel like all cherry or whatnot. We had no ability in and of ourselves to do that.
Absolutely.
Yet out of his love, he came to associate himself with us.
That's
Not
good.
just associate. He came to die on a cross for us, ultimately.
Yeah.
But when we go out now, I think as we are image bearers of God, as we go and image God, it's to say, well, this person doesn't give me anything. I don't receive anything from them, but out of love, I just give to them.
Yeah.
Whether that be conversation, love, effort, time, just spending with each other, I think that is what imaging God looks like.
That's really
As
good.
the shepherds went out, they would have imaged those angels who were imaging God as they would go out to speak to others in the town as they went back.
Because the shepherds would be, in some ways, not concerned about who they speak to.
Yeah.
They would want to tell everyone.
Anyone who would cross their path,
Yeah.
they want to tell of this great news, good news of great joy.
Absolutely. Which is quite profound, because it gives us a glimpse of who God is.
Yeah.
That God is the one who comes near to those who are lowly, insignificant, and humble. God, in this story, actually practices what he preaches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And he chooses to identify himself with the insignificant.
yeah,
In Isaiah 53, he is described as the one from whom people hide their faces from. If you ever walked up to someone and they saw you and they pretended like they didn't see you,
Hey.
yeah. I've had that happen.
Jesus identifies himself with that person because he became that person. The Samaritan woman was one of those people. And Jesus is not afraid to be seen talking to her.
Yeah,
That's good.
So through these stories, we can learn to be the kind of people who don't run from the insignificant, but towards them, because God is interested in them.
That's
He
so
has
good.
good news for them, good news that will bring them great joy.
Yeah.
And that
that's so
is
good.
that he has come for them. Not
Yeah.
just for the significant, but for the insignificant too.
That's good.
and so if that's you listening, you feeling lowly, insignificant, unheard, unseen, God's come for you. He's intentionally come for you.
Yeah. So good.
And that, my friends, is it. Hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful week.
You too.
Cheers, guys.
Goodbye.
Bye.